from PRX.
Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for the podcaster. You see, like it's not like a treat. It's not like what do they do? Turn down service. I think they put mints on your pillows. Just like to figure out who thought of that idea. Dentists, like no offense, but definitely not the people that got to clean the room, because they say, "What are you doing?" Like, because some people may not be. I've never been on a cruise before, and so I don't know where else you'd get a turn down service. So anyway, but this is kind of like a turn down service. No tricks, no treats. As cool as, maybe that's why they said as cool as, someone said as cool as the other side of the pillow, but like a cool mint on your pillow, but not a mint. Well, I guess a mint. I'm associating chocolate and mints. Sorry. I mean, if it was a mint, like I guess you'd say, okay, I could see that on the pillow. Is it like after brushing mint though? What is this? I thought I tuned into a sleep podcast. What are you doing? Yeah, I'm just going, this is Welcome to Sleep with me, by the way. I'm glad you're here. This show is very different. You're right. I'm here to keep you company and take your mind off of stuff so you can fall asleep versus putting you to sleep directly. I'm kind of just here to be your friend and hang out with you and while you fall asleep. I kind of already said that, and I thought I'd try to explain it a different way, and then I couldn't find the words for it. But if you're new, just kind of see how it goes. I'll give you a little heads up of what to expect coming up. Regular listeners, occasional listeners, people listening while you're going through something, welcome back. So glad everybody's here. Because where else would I talk about this stuff, right, and have it actually be useful? You can roll your eyes here, too, just like people do in their regular life. Or they say, excuse me, I'll be back. They never come back. I'll be right back. I just got to go, check those mints. Check my pillows for mints. Check my mints for pillows. Mints for pillows. Was that, that was like what are those called? Like an indie rock band, Mints for Pillows. Turned out I was wrong, though. It was Mints for Pillows, number 4. But not like, there was, the lead singer was named Mints with C-E. And there was 4 other band members, 4 pillows. Yeah. It was quite like mints for pillows. Oh, I'm trying to introduce the sleep podcast. So what we got coming up is support. So the paying for the show is optional for those of you that are new or those of you that kind of listen from time to time. This show is brought to you really by the sponsors and the people that get the most out of the podcast, whose lives are changed regularly by podcast. They support it back. Then after there's a long meandering intro meant to ease you into bedtime. And later on, well, I'll tell a little bedtime story, a seasonal bedtime story. So I'm glad you're here. If you're new, just kind of see how it goes. I'm going to ease you into bedtime, and then you can fall asleep whenever you want. So, yeah, I'm really glad you're here. And if this show has made your life better continually, these are the ways you could support the show. Make sure we're here for you and everybody else. Thanks. Hey, everybody, Scoots. It's time to talk about tonight's sponsor, Helix, and this is going to be an interactive experience or indirect interactive. So you're going to go to helixsleep.com/sleep. That's where I'm going now because I'm trying to pick out a new mattress. I moved. I couldn't bring my Helix with me. I miss it so much. So I'm going to take the sleep quiz. And I'm looking for a queen size. And, first thing you do is pick your sleep position. I sleep mostly on my stomach, a little bit on my side. I do it, I guess, but I'm tossing and turning most nights. So I'm going to pick toss and turn. My preference has changed over the last, traveling. I think I do prefer a firm feel. So I'm going to pick firm feel. Do I ever wake up with back pain? You know, sometimes I do. So I'm going to pick sometimes. And how often do you sleep hot? Every night is when I sleep hot. I got to stay cool. And so the mattress I got matched with was the Helix Twilight. It's a firm feel, 2-edge support, breathable cover for side sleepers. And I do think I want it with the Glaciotex cool cover and cool force layer. So I'm going to pick out some more details here in a little bit before I get it. But that's how easy it is to find the mattress that suits you and your needs, right? I want the mattress that fits my needs. Doesn't mean it's going to be the best mattress for you. That's what's amazing about Helix and their quiz. You just take the quiz. You see if it fits your needs. You take it with your partner. You pick the mattress you get matched with. And then it comes straight to your door, shipped free of charge, and you just set it up, and you're good to go. I mean, I cannot wait to get back into a Helix mattress. So let me know, take the quiz, let me know what mattress you get matched with, and then Helix always has great deals for our listeners, so check it out. Go to helixsleep.com/sleep to see the latest offers for Sleep With Me listeners. That's helixsleep.com/sleep for current offers. Make sure you enter our show name after checkout so they know we sent you. helixsleep.com/sleep. Thanks, everybody. Hey, everybody, Scoots here. Now, if you listen to Sleep With Me 3 or more nights a week, I'm trying to get through to you right now. You know, we're connected. It's like we're coworkers almost 3, 4, 5 nights a week. I'm a part of your life. You know, I don't take that lightly. The show's continued to come out over the past 2 years despite major disruptions in my life. I take this show very seriously. And the only reason it's come out over the past 2 years with all the changes that have things in my life is because of all the other people who work on the show other than me. And listener support is what funds those positions. So if that's important to you, right, this show being around through the ups and downs of my life and your life, we need your support. And you could support the show in 2 ways. Ideally, you're the person hearing me and listening to me right now that's going to go to sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus and support the show. Or if you can't support the show, you're like, financially, I can't afford that. If you're like, no, I choose not to support the podcast, and you got a good reason, that's fine. But if you're one of those two groups, please, with me right now, root that there is someone out there listening that listens 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 nights a week, that is willing, that's just hearing us for the first time right now, and that's like, I'm going to support the show. Yeah, I am going to support the show. Someone like Michelle, who said, your show's like cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia and a pharmaceutical sleep aid all in one. And those things are expensive. You deserve to be rewarded for the service you do. It's something we really work hard at to show up week after week after week, myself and the team of people. And I wouldn't have been able to make the show. And I hope you're rooting with me right now that there's someone out there that's hearing me for the first time or saying, oh, I just made the connection. I'm going to support the show right now at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. I hope it's you that's either going to take that action to support the show or just take that second right now and root for that person and cheer for them in a cheery, silent way that they're going to support the show, that they're out there. Thanks. Oh, Mystery Bard. A lot of people help out on this show. Who are they?
Chris Posty Posterson sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes too. Carl W. the Legend. Also edits episodes. Ashley, Kenny, Scotty, Jennifer. Runner. Eric and the team at Astound are on the website. I am the Mystery Bard. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at JonathanMann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. Get support your scooter on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. Rusty Biscuit, Lois, Anna like banana. Leah does the transcript.
Thanks, Mystery Bard. And don't forget, the most comfortable way to listen to Sleep With Me is with sleep phones. You can get sleep phones at sleepwithmepodcast.com/sleep phones and use Sleep With Me for $5 off at checkout. Sleepwithmepodcast.com/sleepphones. Use Sleep With Me at checkout. What do you say we get on with the show? Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do it with a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you could set aside whatever's keeping you awake. It could be thoughts about the past, the present, the future, thoughts you're thinking about. So think thoughts on your mind, feelings, anything coming up for you emotionally related to those thoughts, or feelings that are just left over from the day, feelings that are there. Physical sensations, changes in time, temperature, routine. You could be going through something, in the middle of something, getting over something. Whatever it is, I'm here to keep you company and take your mind off of that stuff versus putting you to sleep, which is a bit different. But let me tell you why I make this show, or why I talk about not being able to sleep on a sleep podcast. And the main reason is because I want you to feel or get a sense you may be in the right place. You don't have to be in the right place. You don't have to be comfortable when you get here. You don't have to feel at home here. The show doesn't have to put you to sleep. It could. And I want to get to the place where it's like you could feel seen and welcomed in here. Or you say, maybe I'll do, maybe I could get on the page with that. It's funny, On the Page was one of the first podcasts I ever listened to, well, at least regularly, with Pilar about screenwriting. But we talk about a random tangent in the middle of a tangent. But whatever it is that's keeping you awake, I have trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep, trouble waking up, trouble with travel, changes in time, temperature, routine, thoughts, feelings, physical sensations, and a bunch of other stuff. And so I know what it feels like for me, and I know it's not pleasant. And there's a variety of ways it's not pleasant during, before, and after, and in the deepest depths of the dark night. And I don't know what it's like for you, but I hope you know I respect how it feels for you, even if I can't relate to it. But I think we might share some feelings, or at least some language or some understanding. And I just want to say, like, if it's like it for you, like anything like it is for me, I really hope I can help you out. And if you're like, no, you can't understand what I'm dealing with or what I'm going through, I respect that too. I value it, actually, because there's other people out there who have said that to me and told me their stories. And I know that there's someone out there, there's enough people listening, really, that there's someone out there who has experienced something similar to whatever it is that you've been dealing with, whether it's temporarily or long-term or in between. And they're really hoping, because they really know what it feels like, and they hope this podcast can help you out. And them welcoming you feels good for them, too. They get to feel like this, wow, somebody new here, and I can welcome them in. So I hope you get both of those experiences. And now the show's not guaranteed to work, but just see how it goes. I'll explain more. The other reason I make the show is that you deserve a bedtime that you don't have to dread, that doesn't S-U-C-K, that you could look forward to or at least feel neutral about, and that you get the rest you need on a regular basis so your life is more manageable. So that eventually you could be living your life and you could be flourishing. The goal of this show is that you're out there in the world flourishing. And that's what I'm hoping to provide. The way it works is I send my voice across the deep dark night. I use the deep dark night. Steve and Neve, they were twin brothers that existed only in my imagination. Somewhere out there, somebody named Neve. I couldn't spell it. Steve is S-T-E-V-E, though. Neve. Seems like it would need Neve. Is it Neve? There's Neve and Neve, too. Were they Steve and Neve's cousins or sisters? What is this? The Eve Club. Yeah, the Eves. Their last name was Eve. Steve, Neve, Eve, Neve. I forgot Neve and Neve and Steve, Neve and Neve. So there's Steve, Neve, Neve and Neve, and Eve and Eva. Eve, no, would you call someone Eve? Yeah, I think so. I like that, actually. Eve here, reporting on the sleep podcaster that just created us. So, yeah, what was my point there? I don't know. Steve, I was trying to figure out how to spell not Neve. Steven. It's going to send my voice across the deep dark night. The Deep dark night. Use lulling, soothing, creaky dulcet tones, pointless meanders and superfluous tangents, which you've just gotten a little taste of there. And hopefully these characters will make an appearance in our story tonight. I don't know. I mean, it sounds like a great team. The Eves, a family of twins, the Twin Cities Sitters Club. Is that a thing? How about that? Twin Cities Sitters Club. The Eves. Yeah, we run the Twin Cities Sitters Club. We're in a podcast right now. Intro. We're part of a pointless meander and superfluous tangent where the podcaster goes off topic and gets mixed up, overpronounces and underpronounces words, uses filler words and gratuitous. It's been a while since I've given out a gratuitous pregnant pause, but here you go, Eves. That's for the twins. This pregnant pause, this gratuitous pregnant pause is for the Twin Cities Sitters Club. It's interesting. Is it a club of babysitters or people that sit around as a club? What percentage of clubs sit around? 70%? I don't know. So I go off topic. I get mixed up. My voice is not traditionally soothing. And that's all. So when you get here, you may not like me or the show, and it may be a lot stronger than that. Believe me, I've been doing this 12 years, and I've seen it all in the emails, and it's not for the faint of heart. We have a website set up, sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you, because all the other stuff I said is true. So if you get here, like this show is an acquired taste, that you don't acquire the taste from me, or you're already certain, like that's what that website's set up for. Go there, click one button, it'll take you to a list of other sleep podcasts and sleepy stuff, because I still want you to find something to help you get the sleep you need. So yeah, if you're skeptical or doubtful though, but you're not certain, please give this show a few tries. You really have nothing to lose. And that's the most common refrain I've heard from most people that support the show now. They're super listeners. They listen 3, 4, or 5 nights a week, and they support the podcast back. Those people, a lot of them email me. At first, I didn't like you or the show. Then I was confused. And then on the third listen, I just woke up the next day. So just kind of see how it goes, because it is a bit different. One, this is a podcast you don't really listen to. You just kind of barely listen to it. And that takes some adjustment, right? Like, it's a bit like an elevated background noise, a TV on in the other room, music or a party down the street, a show streaming under your pillow, out of focus picture, sand passing through your hands. You can listen, but you don't need to listen. So I guess it is different than background noise, because background, I don't know, for me a lot of times, even now, and I'm sorry, sports, but and now my friend has the Northwoods Baseball podcast, which is like meant to help people fall asleep too. For me, it was like listening to sports. I would not be paying attention, but having that running in the background was soothing to me. And I could listen to it when I needed to, especially like not just sleeping, but other situations. So just kind of see how it goes. It's a podcast you don't listen to. Believe it or not, this is a sleep podcast. I've been going over 12 years now. And it's not meant to put you to sleep. There is no pressure to fall asleep with this show. My job is to keep you company while you fall asleep, but whether you're awake or asleep, because there's people listening who can't sleep at all, and people that need a break during the day or wake up in the middle of the night. So I'm here to the very end, whether you're awake or asleep. My job is not to put you to sleep, but to distract you so you could fall asleep, to comfort you and chill with you, to be barely entertaining. That's why the episodes are over an hour. I'm here to be your boar friend, your boar bae, your boar sib, your boar bestie, your chairman of the boards, your Boris Borloff, your boar bee, your boarman, your neighbor, your I think you said boar bee, your boars, your best boar friend forever. To be here as your friend. Just like if it was a service or a friend you could call, but you can't call most friends every night and say, talk to me for a few hours. I won't be paying attention, but I might. So please be mildly, like, could you ease me into bedtime and then tell me a story? Be great if it was about the Twin Cities Sitters Club and all the Eves. So, yeah, I'm glad you're here. What else do you need to know? Podcast you don't listen to, most people don't like it, especially when they get here. Even super listeners didn't like it. It doesn't put you to sleep, even though it's a sleep pod. I expected something more. I don't know what I expected, but this isn't it. That's what super listeners say. I never knew to look for something like this. I never knew something like this could be out there. So this does fit a very specific niche. People that want a friend to hang with them that's barely funny and barely entertaining, but that's friendly. So, structure the show is the last thing I'd like to point out. We structure this podcast based on years and years of feedback to benefit the maximum amount of people we can, because there's a lot of different styles of listening, but the show is adaptable if you become a regular listener. But let me tell you why, so I can meet you where you are. All our shows start off with a greeting. Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. So you feel seen and welcomed in, and you say, okay, that sounds like a nice enough spot. I might be able to check that out to sleep. Then there's support, so we can put the show out. Now we put out 3 different episodes a week, and it takes a team of people to do that. And the listener support and the sponsor support is what enables us to do that. If you prefer something without that, you get on Sleep With Me Plus. But for new listeners or casual listeners, right, the sponsors will work for most of those type of listening. And then we don't have to have everything behind a paywall. There's like 600 plus episodes you could get right now ready to go. Then after that, which we're almost done with, is a long meandering intro separate from the support. It's a show within a show. And it's not meant to put you to sleep. It's meant to ease you into bedtime and introduce the podcast in a new way every single time. Like, I don't think the Twin Cities Sitters Club or Steve and Neve and Neve and Deve and Eve and Eva or Ava came up. The Eves, the Twin Cities Sitters Club. But, now they're here, so we're happy to have them. So every intro is different, but it follows a familiar structure, so it has variety and familiarity, which I found works. That's why I've made over 1,400 episodes, because my brain adapts to whatever I listen to or whatever I try at bedtime, and then it tries to say, oh, that's too predictable. I need something different. But I also want something that I can count on and familiar. And that's why I designed the show this way. But the intro is also meant to be part of your wind down routine, because that's what works and what's been shown to work, is having a little bit of time to get ready for bed, to wind down, to get comfortable, and to have some distance between the day and sleep, like an in-between time. So if you find you want a show without intros, we have bedtime stories from Sleep With Me. That's available everywhere. and you could test that out. But for most people, getting eased into bedtime and having a nice bedtime routine makes bedtime more something to look forward to or to count on. While it doesn't work for me all the time, it does work most of the time. So that's the intro. Then after the intro will be support, and then it'll be our bedtime story. All told, we'll be here just over an hour. And I'm really glad you're here. I work really, really hard on the show. So do a team of people because we really want to help you out. To help you fall asleep, we yearn and strive to do so. And if you're new or just an occasional listener or whatever, don't worry about any of this stuff. But if sleeping makes your life better on a regular basis, it's changed your life. It's a part of your life. These are the ways you could be a part of the life of the show and get even closer to the show and help all those other people out that are listening too. So thanks so much. All right, everybody, it's time to talk about tonight's sponsor, Uncommon Goods. Uncommon Goods makes your holiday shopping stress-free and joyful with thousands of one-of-a-kind gifts you can't find anywhere else. I love doing gift shopping on Uncommon Goods. I did a little bit of Scoots just moved, so let's get some gifts for Scoots himself gift shopping to prepare for this ad read, because Uncommon Goods looks for products that are high-quality, unique, and often handmade or made in the U.S. Many are crafted by independent artists and small businesses, and because they're made in small batches, the best can sell out fast. Now, I got a few gifts for myself, but these were great. Like, I would have gifted these to other people. I got a little bit of a bed organizer that you put under your mattress, then it hangs on the side of your bed. I could put my reading device there, my phone there, and it's a beautiful print. It's also nice. It just feels good. It looks good. It feels good. I got some autumnal movie-related scratch-off, a list of the 100 best autumnal movies that are going to surprise you with joy for the autumnal season. And then the same thing, but bingo. So 8 people, we could play bingo and watch an autumnal-themed movie and play bingo. What could be more fun than that? I love getting games on Uncommon Goods because they always have unique stuff. There's so many gift ideas on there. Many of the handcrafted products are prepared in small batches, so shop now before they sell out this holiday season. Get it slow holidays, or is it easy holidays? I think it's called slow holidays. It's like you take it easy. Yeah, do a little bit every week. So shop early, have fun, and cross some names off your list today. To get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/sleep. That's uncommongoods.com/sleep for 15% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Uncommon Goods. We're all out of the ordinary. Thanks, everybody. Everybody, this is Scoots here. This is a Trending Tuesday style episode. And that we put out. We try to put one of these out a month. This is also a tale. A lot of these are tales never told, though this is from a particular club. So kind of exciting because we never had an episode with this new club and these new characters. Can't say they're recurring because they just made an appearance in the intro. So, yeah, I'm going to turn things over to the story. I hope you enjoy this episode in the pumpkin season. Thanks for listening and good night. Oh, wait, but before I get to the story here, I forgot, a little behind the scenes for everybody. I forgot to bring a randomizer with me. So this is something I've never done before, is a randomizer. I don't know why I've never thought of this, but I got a stack of sci-fi book cover postcards from one of my siblings, my brother Ken. And so I'm going to try to use these as a randomizer because it was the first thing I saw. When I'm recording this, I'm trying to pack my life up and move eventually. So this might really work well, kind of like whatever. This is trending. So anyway, this is Welcome to Sleep with Me, story part. All right, everybody, hear ye, calling the first official meeting of Twin Cities Sitters Club. we've all we've all decided to go with our names that we'll speak now, even though they may have been. Who's present? Okay, Neve and Neve present. Steve present. I'm Neve. I'm also present. I don't know, may have had other names and intros of podcasts before, but I'm Neve. Steve, Neve, Neve, and Eve and Ava, all present here for the first official meeting of the Twin Cities Sitters Club. Glad everybody's here. Well, I don't consider myself the spokesperson. I guess I'll be talking as everyone's encouraging me to talk. We're recording this meeting for posterity because in the great traditions of babysitters who adventure and Hardy Drews, Nancy's, and Stiltons everywhere, Fancy Nancy's, Nancy Drews, Drew the podcaster. Well, I don't know if he solves any mysteries. Encyclopedia Brown, so many others. So we've come together as we're a family of babysitters. We all just happen to be fairly close in age since we're three sets of twins. And we don't have to get into any of that or, why we're close in age. That's not that's not part of the meeting minutes. But we've always been a team of babysitters, and we usually babysit in pairs. I'm recording this thank you for pointing that out, Nev. The reason I'm doing it is because people might not understand that sometimes we do babysit as twin in our pairs, and sometimes we switch pairs. And eventually, even because we have a set of again, not to get in our family business, we did have to make it clear after a while that we're paid as two individuals, not as one individual we're not a pair. But that offers a lot of advantages with babysitting, and we've gotten a lot of referrals, and we've stayed pretty busy. But as we know, the babysitting business can be quite dull, especially in pairs, right? Because especially if we're only babysitting one person, we kind of usually, I guess recording for posterity, these are our methods and tips, not to be reused. I guess in future babysitters, when we age out of babysitting, that's fine. Or maybe the Twin Cities Sitters Club will become a thing because we're so happy and we love sitting around. But just to note, for the meeting minutes or whatever this is called, we all are sitting down and we're in our clubhouse, which is also a tree house. And it's a big tree house because, some people might say you're too old to be in that tree house. And we say, well, it's structurally sound. So, but we know that we're all lucky to be big readers and we like consuming other media, and we're all fans of different, degrees of media and different reading. And of course, we're a fan of many, Poker Face and Lady Marple and all the other Marple derivatives, official ones. But we've always wanted to have our own cases. And we learned early on don't investigate when you're getting paid by somebody. Don't investigate your client, your babysitting clients. Your Twin City Sitters, we're sitters. We're not looking for cases. We're looking for cases from our clients. We're not looking to create fictional things like, I wonder why they have that. Do they work for, are they part of that cool dispute that the places had when back in the day? Because, one lesson we learned is there's we were taught Because one of the things when you're part of a family of 3 sets of twins with various adults in your life, you learn about the term roadside picnic. What is a roadside picnic? Being a roadside picnic is no picnic. We all like to say here at Twin City Sitters Club. Because you'd say, well, there's an idyllic idea of a roadside picnic, but we don't know about it. Because if you're in a roadside picnic, then probably means you're eating in the car on the side of the road, or you've pulled over to eat outside of the car on the side of the road because you're on a road trip and you had to bring a picnic lunch instead of saying, can't we eat at that place? Nope, we got, ham and cheese and PB&J's here. So we've always said roadside picnic is not a picnic. Well, I guess it's no picnic, but it's not a picnic at all. I mean, technically it is what we'd fold down the back door of the station wagon and people could sit on it, or we could use it as a table. Usually it's used as a buffet table for distributing sandwiches and drinks. Maybe if we were lucky, we had a bugle. But we're on a case right now is why we're having this first official meeting of Twin City Sitters Club. Before that, we were just a business. We didn't have meetings like this, and we didn't think to record them. But we finally stumbled upon, we finally have our first case. And it's an interesting case at that because it involves a picnic basket, and that's probably why I have picnic on my mind, is that a client of ours, who will remain nameless, though we may have worked with them professionally, because the Twin City Sitters Club, that says more, we never said we're babysitters. I mean, we are babysitters, but we just like the name, like, Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, Joy Luck Club, and other ones who say, man, it'd be pretty cool to be in a club like that. So we made one. But just because everyone in the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants wears, I haven't read that one, though my sisters have, and a couple of my brothers. But I'd say, well, they don't always have to wear pants all the time, right? Correct. It's actually, why didn't you just read the book? Well, because I'm afraid to be jealous, so that's why I didn't read the book or watch. Maybe I'll watch the movie one day. But this mystery came to us from a client, and they had found something in a picnic basket. And I guess I'm trying to figure out, this is a very seasonal, because it's the season for this kind of thing. They found a picnic basket. And interestingly enough, it was on the side of a road, and it was in a tree. We're in a tree house now. I don't know if those are, what's up with those connections, but the picnic basket was in a tree. They saw it. They said, is there something in that tree? And they pulled over out on the country road, one of the great country byways and highways and side roads around here. By the way, Twin Cities is a great place, full of great people. As far as we know a lot of great people in Twin Cities, and we love it. So, but back to the Twin Cities. Back to the picnic basket. Out on the road, our client was. They saw something in a tree out of the corner of their eye. They pulled over. They parked their car. They turned on their blinkers. They were far enough. This was a big curb, plenty of, not curb, the road had more than two shoulders, because it was a road that was, I guess, meant for pulling over. And then they reversed for a while because it was a country road, not very busy. Then they got out. So they got out of the car after, obviously. I did that out of order. This is my first time running a meeting, by the way. We're filling in things. And they saw something in the tree. So they walked up to the tree. First, there was a grove of trees. They said, which tree was that in? Did I really see something? They thought it might have been something exciting, like a large bird, a giant bird, as a matter of fact, or some sort of mammalian friend. All they know is it caught their eye because it was a dark color, but it was clearly not part of the tree. It caught their eye. They didn't know why. Then they looked up in the tree, in a grove of trees, and then they found, by which it's autumn here, but it's fall, but the leaves had not started to fall yet. We're still, they're beginning to fall. But this grove of trees at this particular time still had a lot of leaves in it, of varying shades, but some still green. And our client just saw something in the tree. They eventually identified the tree, but they still didn't 100% identify what they saw because their first reaction was, that looks like a picnic basket, but it's like a grayish black picnic basket. And they said to themselves, it looks like what is that? And they thought a lot about movies, about with the Wizarding of Oz, in movies where the wind blows and magic happens. And they said, I got to figure out what that is. It does look like a basket. Why is it in the tree? And so they climbed to the tree, and it took them a little bit of effort. And then they got up, and it was in the, in a nook or, elbow, a shoulder, not a hollow, but intersection of branches or trunks, if you will. Since we're in a tree, you'd say, are these branches? Because they're pretty thick. I don't know. I don't know the technical terms. Everybody's shaking their head. Yeah, we're not the Twin Cities Tree Club. Though we're sitting in a tree, we could say we're the Twin Cities Tree Sitters Club, but that would be very confusing just because we have our meetings in a tree house. It could be in a clubhouse anywhere, or it could be, in our kitchen, though then adults would be listening in to us. So our client climbed the tree, in summary. And when they were in the tree, they happened to be able to sit down, and they noticed the basket was kind of caught on a couple branches, and that it was a black, gray, or faded black picnic basket. Yes, to answer the question, or to make the point, to answer to anybody listening, it was a wicker picnic basket. And they said, black wicker biscuit basket? No, picnic basket. That's interesting. And they even said in a very cinematic way, how'd you get in this tree? But the basket did not answer. And the basket had clasps with those metal twisty things so that if you're running through the fields on a picnic, as people do at least in dreams and animated in films, or I guess if you put the picnic basket down, or like those cartoons with Yogi. Be a little bit harder for Yogi to get in your picnic basket and take your sandwiches. So they kind of said, okay, let me look. Now luckily it had a handle like picnic baskets do, and they put it in the crook of their arm and climbed back down the tree. And then they carried the picnic basket with them, and they got in their car and they drove off. Now, here's where things get interesting. They were going from place to place, and the kind of picnic basket slipped their mind for a bit until they got home that night, and they said, I forgot about that picnic basket. Put it in the back seat, forgot about you back there. They said as the garage closed and they looked in the rearview mirror and they saw a picnic basket just sitting there. And in the light of the garage, picnic basket looked quite interesting because it was a different color than most picnic baskets are. And they reached over the seat and they put it in the front seat with them. And they said, now let's see what you got inside. And they went and to turn the first unclasper, and it didn't move. It was this rusted shut, they said, as they told us, the Twin City Sitters Club. They can't get this undone. And then they went to the other side of the basket, and they tried to undo it, and it was stuck as well. And they said, this is, and they tried really hard, but then they thought about breaking it, and it was rusty. They said, I got to have some WD-40 somewhere. Okay, I'll do it. But then they said, wait a second, picnic baskets aren't exactly airtight, so they kind of moved the flaps, we'll call them, of the picnic basket with their fingers. And they noticed a piece of paper sticking out from there. And so they pulled the piece of paper, pull. The piece of paper was a folded up note. And it was, they unwrapped the note, and it said something interesting to them. Maybe it's only interesting in retrospect. Maybe it's only interesting... Well, because it's really the only clue we have, and the only clue we have to go on, because it said a date with the taker of unders, and that was all it said. And they said, was this picnic for a date with the taker of unders? What's a taker of unders anyway? Sounds like a very royal name. Now... They claim, our client, that they left the picnic basket in the car, and they said, well, let's see about the WD-40, and I'll get you out of here, and then I'll try to use some WD-40 on you tomorrow, because whatever, they had groceries in the car, your typical things. And so they said they put the note in their pockets, and they went inside their house. Now, whether or not they locked their car, we don't know. All we know is our client reported to us that the next day, the picnic basket had slipped their mind for a while, and then they had to use the car again. And as they were going in the car, their hand hit the door. They said, wait a second, I'm supposed to remember something. There's something related to, that WD-40 or silicone spray, maybe, because, the Twin Cities Sitters Club, we don't just represent any spray lubricants. We kind of can represent them all as needed. So, theretofore, you guys are like that. Oh, this is pretty funny. Do I sound like an adult? I'm trying to sound as adult as I can. Bet you can't even guess my name. Neve. Yeah, that's my name. Neve. Neve Eve. Steve Eve. Eva Eve, Neve Eve, Neve Eve, and Ava Eve. We're the Twin Cities Sitters Club. Well, we're not going to be sitting around much longer because our client got their silicone spray, shook it up, shook it up, and then said, I better not spray it here in the car because, and I better not spray it in the garage. I'll open the garage and I'll spray it on the grass on the side of the drive. Their garage door opened. They stepped outside. They put the silicone spray on the side of the driveway where, aerosol cans can stand with ease. Then they returned to the car. They opened the door of the car. And they looked inside the car, and there was no picnic basket at all. They said, no picnic basket. I'm having trouble saying that. Picnic basket at all. That's the strangest thing. And no one was in the car. No one would have taken it from the car. Garage was closed. Picnic basket's gone. Then they went in the house, they looked around, they checked the car, they checked the trunk, they checked the garage. Now, because it wasn't, this was like something interesting, but not something essential, they didn't look super hard, but hard enough, because they said, I'm positive. Was that whole thing a dream? Black wicker picnic basket in a tree? They laughed to themselves. And then they started to drive out. They bumped the silicone spray. They stopped the car. They put the silicone spray back in the car. They looked around the garage. Then they noticed one clue, one more clue that we have, which was a piece of black fabric flopping in the breeze just outside the garage. They said, that's a piece of black fabric, a kind of tattered black fabric flapping in the breeze on this nail outside my garage. Then they checked their app that they used to open the garage, and the garage hadn't been opened since they had returned home the night before. And then they checked, they were technologically advanced because they checked the doors, and the doors had not been opened since they were, because they went in through the garage. The door from the garage to their kitchen had been opened. The door from the garage to the backyard had not been opened. Now you might say to yourself, can you tell me more? I don't live in the Twin Cities or a snow-based region. Yeah, there's advantages of the Twin Cities. Let me just tell you a little bit about them. Nowadays, you might have a home with a mud room as well, or some sort of ante-room or a wet room. But yeah, we in the wintertime, you can drive into your garage, close the garage, turn off your car, or turn off your car and close the garage. It's not heated, but it's, protected from the winter winds, the rains. And then you could get out of your car, and if you don't have a mud room or anything, sometimes you can leave your boots and your wet clothes outside in the garage if you have enough space. But then there's a room. It usually goes into, a lot of times, goes into a hallway, which would then become dubbed a mud room. Sometimes if you have a basement, there's a door to the basement, maybe a door to a half bath. That door may open directly into your kitchen. Or it could be some other part of your house, back porch. And then usually have, a door that goes into your backyard from your garage or out the side of the house. That door would probably be more likely to be used in the summer, spring, and fall. Probably not in the winter. Maybe that door would be snowed in the winter, unless you happen to have you should use that door and so you shovel it. So a little bit of facts about how to answer your questions about houses in the Twin Cities. Most houses, most houses have silicone-based spray on hand. Be surprised what the winter roads and salt and all that stuff will do to things that could be sprayed with silicone spray. But okay, so they knew this tattered. Well, it could have just been something. Who knows? They said. But they couldn't let it go, right? The back of their mind, this picnic basket, like no picnic basket they'd ever been seen, had disappeared. It had this strange note in it. It couldn't open the clasps. It was in a tree. It was a mystery, without a doubt. Where did it go? How did it get there? What was inside it? What about this tattered piece of clothing? It was a mystery. And, as we started to try to figure out how we could expand beyond just babysitting as Twin Cities Sitters Club. Some of us happened to be a time, without exposing the name of this client, they happened to have a large family. And their oldest son may or may not be known as Andy. He may actually be the same age as some of us, but he just isn't he just doesn't have the wherewithal of the member. He's just different than the Twin City Sitters Club and us Eves. And so we do usually bring 2 or 3 of us minimum when we go over to babysit at this home. Because it takes quite an effort, right? And it's a bunch of kids there, is what I'm saying, and we tend to have a lot of fun there, and we try to get the kids to bed on time, and Andy's like what you call a little bit more of one of those moody kids, so he's off reading or Sometimes he'll want to hang with us. He's a loner, I guess you'd say. We're not looking at him as anything to do with the picnic basket. But so we happened to be sitting around. We were playing a little bit of cards. Members of the Twin Cities Sitters Club that were working. When our client came home, and she said, how's we playing some cards? Yeah, it's, and she happened to say something about Andy, and we said, oh, yeah, well, he did good, but he's a mystery to us anyway. And she laughed and said, he's a mystery to all of us. And she made a noise like that. When people make noises like that, it's a mini mystery, right? And the call to mystery is always there for the Twin Cities Sitters Club. By the way, that's over one of the boards we worked at. The call to mystery is always there. I don't know if that's our club saying. Is that our club saying? Everybody's shrugging. It's just saying our club appreciates. The roadside picnic. There's no picnic. That's probably doesn't have to do it, but the call to mystery is always there. So, Eve, it was you that Eve, by the way, nice to meet, nice of all of you to meet my sister. Eve said, sorry, you paused there. Was there something about mystery? I don't know if you knew this, but, we don't just babysit anymore. And we just all happen to have our books with us. So a collection of youngsters solving mysteries or missing, lost items, all those things. And we liked reading them with these kids, too. So you said, it sounds like something's going on when you said mystery. And that's when this mother relayed all the information we just relayed to you. And we said, so it's a missing picnic basket. And it's a mystery how the picnic basket got there. And do you have a copy of the note? Which she did. We said, do you have the tattered clothing? She said, no. But she said, I just happen to have, our trick-or-treating. We've been decorating for the trick-or-treating season. And she said, I just happen to have, a couple of the decorations have similar tattered clothing. And she said, she showed us a couple of the decorations, cooling stuff outside. And she said, it's kind of like this, which was kind of seeing things like cloaks for things that like to surprise you with joy of treats in the Halloween season. And we said, we'd be happy to figure out this picnic basket mystery for you. It sounds like a case of the taker, a date with taker of unders. And she said, well, you're hired. And she laughed quite a bit. And she said, I'm not sure I could give you. And Ava said, well, sounds like a case that has its multiple mysteries. One. Two, we needed to, we could do, this is a case, Neve said, this is a case like that if we solve it, would be its own rewards. And Neve said, but we need you to write us some sort of testimonial. And, maybe could you even put up a sign, we don't have signs right now, but it would be like a yard sign, Twin Cities Sitters Club, case, maybe because we already got enough babysitting clients. We don't need any more. And the mom said, freeze, that's price is right with me. Job, case, hand, whatever. And we said client hired. We're on the case now. Now we're here as our first meeting because we've collected what we think is we're on the case. Now, our first thing was to look at the note. The note just had those words on there. Now, we did notice that it was written in some sort of, we did derive a few things, but not all at once. But now when I'm describing to you, it may sound easy, but nothing's easy for the Twin Cities Sitters Club. So don't get, don't imagine that, it all comes to us naturally. We work at it. But we determined a couple things about the note. There was some prints, finger side prints, which we eventually, that the note was written with wet ink, and that it was a finger side print, and that it had been under that, we said, man, it would be nice to carbon date this note. But we said, okay, well, it's at least been around since ink was invented. And we also were like, I don't think it could have made it through one winter season in that tree, because it was like exposed to some elements, but it hadn't started to deteriorate like it had been rained on repetitively or gone through an entire winter here in Twin Cities. Now, you may say, Twin Cities, you haven't mentioned the State Fair, the Mall of America at all. I say, yeah, we're more than that. I mean, those are great things about the Twin Cities. We also have an amazing winter festival. And, but yeah, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Twin Cities Sitters Club. Okay, so we knew we had a note, probably made by a left-handed person because of the fingerprint, the side of the handprints, because people with, we have enough siblings that we have left-handers, though we won't disclose that on this audio, so in case you're trying to pretend you're one of the Twin Cities Sitters Club. I don't know, maybe one day we'll take new entrants. Be great to have you if you're listening to this. And at least you could be in your heart a member of the Twin Cities. All you got to say to be a heart-based member is Twin City Sitters Club. And you could create your own name, but that's really my name. Dave, Feeve, Zeev, but that probably, I don't know. But anyway, we're on the case. Now, we got directions back to the estimate where this tree was. We weren't certain we could find it. And also we decided we needed some cover because we were like, we said, we don't, I don't know. We thought if we're solving this mystery, we don't want to be looking like we're solving the mystery. And we don't want to, so we brought a bunch of kites. And we call that game when we all have kites, Kite World. And we have a song and stuff. This is predates Twin Cities. Maybe this is what the prequel to Twin Cities Sitters Club, Kite World. Everybody's welcome in Kite World. That's part of our song. Even though the kites can we try not to get the kites caught together in Kite World. But anyway, so we brought a bunch of kites. And what we noticed is that if you're looking to investigate a tree, crashing a kite into it, it's a pretty good way to do it. And everybody driving by. And also we're known around town for Kite World. And this happened to be a very rural area, not clear on ownership of this part of land. So it wasn't like somebody said, don't bring Kite World near my home. We usually did Kite World in open fields. But we were big on Kite World. We were. So we were, but this was just Kite World for deceptive purposes. And as we had laid out, as my siblings are agreeing with me, we took turns. We only brought 4 kites. We were flying 2 to 3 kites at a time while everybody else was canvassing the area, looking for clues. And it wasn't intentional, but it kind of worked out that we started crashing kites into trees. And then we had to get in the trees to get the kites out. And we said, wait a second, this is perfect cover, and a perfect way to investigate inadvertently, which is sometimes the best way to investigate anything. And we started to look for clues. Now, we came up not successful until the kite started crashing in the trees. And the one thing we found is that we found the kite where we were strongly believed, positive that the picnic basket was. And the way we found that kite is it had a very specific kind of intersection that even had grass and a little bit of dirt in it, like it had a friend living in there. And that had one broken piece of black wicker. And we did debate it back and forth, but it was smooth. It was a U. It wasn't a branch. Wasn't something from a tree. I guess we're fairly very certain that it was the place where the mystery picnic basket was resting. So the next thing we established was that we had to get our other kites out of the other trees because we'd crashed a kite there, and we got it out of there. Then we moved on to another tree. Now, Neve's the best climber in the family. And again, because we have a team, we can take, so Neve actually went from the tree, we'll call this tree A, the tree with the picnic basket, tree A, in a grove of trees. Neve was able to navigate one of the giant limbs of tree A that rolled over to tree B. Again, we were on the ground covering, that's what we do. We're the Twin City Sitters Club. We take care of each other. We didn't need to take care of Neve, but we're babysitters, right? We practice best practices. So Neve, sorry, this is my first time being recorded, but so navigated from one tree to another, where there was another one of our kites from Kite World resting. And sometimes they're resting, they need a great repair. This particular kite was. And Neve even said the joking thing, this kite's in need of great repair. We didn't know if we could fix it. It was kind of like a joke at the kite's expense. Though kites aren't sentient, even if a sleep podcaster tells you they are. We made these, so we're kind of having a laugh. It was like an inside joke. Not from the Twin Cities, well, I guess from Kite World. Or other ones, this kite's going to need a looking at. We like to say that. This kite could use a kiss. This kite could use a band. Any of those things. This kite needs to be held. That one could, be so we can get it up in the air. Or it could be like you need to hold it and rock it like a baby. A lot of people thought it was strange that we had such a fun relationship with kites. But we highly suggest it if you're listening to this. Create your own kite world. Leave the mysteries of the Twin Cities to the Twin City Sitters Club, but you can do kite world wherever. You can bring kite world wherever you are. So, my sister was navigating these trees, laughing, and then trying to do the line. We wouldn't leave no lines behind, if at all possible, because, there's forest friends. We don't need them running into the kite string. So then Neve started throwing down the parts of the kite. And we're trying to catch them or watch out so that we didn't, and then trying to untangle the line, which can be quite a boring job and quite involved. And we got the third kite down from tree C, unimportant. Tree C, unimportant. Just establishing that there's a pattern of trees. And then tree B. My sister's in tree B, working on the kite string and untangling it, unknotting it, when she says, wait a second, I've got a clue here, maybe. And we said, what? And she said, I got a clue here, maybe. And we said, what's the clue? And she said, it's up here. It's carving in the tree. And instead of carving in the tree, she said a romantic or wistful carving in the tree. I can't quite make it out. And we said, oh, make room. We'll come up there. She said, well, I don't know if there's room, but I'll try to make room. So we started climbing up, and there was room for 3 of us in this tree. And the tree seemed to like it. But so we climbed and we saw what was tradition back in the day, still used from time to time, carved with some sort of blade. And again, we're not here to encourage. We weren't doing any of this. We were observing it. So we're not laying any judgment either way because this was a clue. But it was a shape that was supposed to look like a heart, but it wasn't really well done. And then it had a plus, and then 2 sets of initials in the plus. Now, we're only going to tell you one of the initials, which was an A, because that was eventually would either become a confirmation or a clue. Can't tell you right now. But we were looking at it, and we were trying to figure out. It was really hard to read, really terrible tree handwriting. And I said, hey, anybody know? Oh, I don't know. Was that a Q? Was that a Z? Was that a P? But we were pretty certain about the A. That was the first letter, too. A something plus blah, blah. It really means love, within love. These 2 are within love or something. Now, the other thing we were able to say is hey, this doesn't look, it's not like the tree had healed from this. The tree was entering a healing process. And I said, okay, well, this isn't that old. Maybe not even the winter. We didn't know because, again, we're not tree experts. We're not the Twin Cities Tree Club. But we had, and I said, okay, that's interesting. And we kind of looked at it, and we took pictures, but Neve was like, something about this reminds me of the note. We pulled out the note, but there's no way to compare handwriting and tree writing. But, when you're in the Twin Cities Sitters Club, when you're a babysitter, too, your gut matters. We respected Neve's gut saying, and there's something similar. So what did we establish? Well, that the picnic basket was probably real and in that tree. That's all we had established so far. And that someone had carved their initials in the tree nearby. And then we kept looking around. Obviously, we weren't about to give up. There had to be something else that could point us in the right direction. And so we searched the area. We searched it high. We searched it low. And eventually, in the crook of another tree, we found a sealed plastic Ziploc bag. Now, this was on the ground level. In a hole where you think a forest friend might live. This was a plastic, smooth top, whatever, bag with closure. That was watertight, and in there was a deck of cards. Now, these weren't just any cards, but we said, according to Hoyle, that's what we like to have fake. We did like to pretend we were in books or movies, so that was pretty funny. Who said that? Ava said that, according to Hoyle, this must be a clue. Now, the clue wasn't just that the cards, but that these were very specific deck of cards. Again, I don't want to reveal any, inside information, but these cards were given as a part of like a specific TV show on air in Twin Cities. Actually, like a link to the movie Multiplex, which was such a big part of our youth, multiplex like Goonies and Back to the Future. The show that could have been based on here in the Twin Cities, it was like the cards of the fan club from that show, which I'll just, it was a bit like, late night trips to multiplex, we'll just say. It was a public access show where they'd show movies and someone would talk between them. And that's portrayed in a movie multiplex. So basically, just another thing that we're proud of here in the Twin Cities. Now, this was something that was, you had to be a member of the fan club. But now, this is the thing that we already knew, was that when we babysat at our client's house, their son, Andy, was a huge fan of this show. No matter what was happening, they only had 2 TVs in this house, right? And no matter what he had to watch this show, which was always on Saturday nights, sometimes Friday nights, particularly during this season, because it was his favorite show. And then he said, well, I'm allowed to stay up late till my mom gets home. So, yeah. So we said, wait a second, it's all coming together, because we said, what is the most likely solution to the mystery is that, it's always, it's always the most obvious thing, shaving an octo or whatever. So we said, holy cow. And again, goes back to Neve's gut, and Neve said, it's got to be. And they said that was the letter of their last name, maybe. And we said, wait a second, that's a person that a lot of people at our school are attracted to, maybe's initials. And so it's all coming back together. So we returned to our client's house. Now we wondered what we should do here. But we knew we didn't actually have to do anything, because we knew more than you know. But we knew we had to tie it up in a bow. And so we got there, and we set a time to meet with our client. We said, we need to meet with you at come by our clubhouse. And we told her what we believed happened. And she said, thank you. And she said, okay, I think I know what to do. She said, listen, let me tell you, actually give you an idea, because I think this case is closed. Because she talked about Andy being, a little bit, and Andy was close to Andy's mom. This mom, and Andy had another mom, and they were parents together. But Andy's and not like the mom that was our client. She had said, well, I'm going to go visit these other realms. No, it's not what everybody wants, but actually I wasn't the one that made the decision. It was made, and I was just transferred to a new realm. And Andy was particularly close. And so this whole realm changing was not easy on him. And this particular season was a reminder that maybe that was and so the mom said, yeah, I already knew what had happened. And we said, well, what happened? They said, well, this is private, but we have the client relationship. She said, yeah. Andy likes to go in that tree. Apparently, I talked to him about it. And he plays cards, and he plays a kind of solitaire and talks to my wife, and he has picnics with her, and he brings her favorite kinds of food. And then Steve was like, so that's a goth style picnic basket. I didn't even think that was a thing. And she said, yeah, I'm so proud of him. He made his own picnic basket, to kind of create a somber tone. Even though what he was doing was having his own roadside picnic, those far off the road and in a tree, roadside tree picnic, and taking the time to spend the time. And we said, well, maybe he's not a loner at all, really. Like, and she said, yeah, it's like a thing. He said, and this, I think it's very healthy. And so he took the picnic basket back, and then explained it. And actually, I got invited, and I got to go with him, and we played the cards, him and I, with a different, because his cards were missing, obviously, but you had discovered them, so I'll return him to the cards to him. And we brought, he had the picnic basket in his room, so we brought the picnic basket, and luckily I had brought the WD-40 too, because he said, yeah, it's been, I left it out here in the rain once, so I forgot. So it's kind of a bummer. So it was a good thing we had that silicone spray. So that's the first mystery we solved here is the Twin City Sitters Club, the case of the taker of unders. Now we get it. And it's interesting. And we're assuming Andy wrote poetry, and that was just the beginning of a poem. Maybe he read it to his mom, but we don't know that for sure. But we know that this case is closed. And another mystery will open up soon here with the Twin City Sitters Club. Good night, everybody. Hey, everybody, this is Scoots, and this is a Tuck You In message. I don't know if you've been listening to episode after episode, or you just woke up, you're drifting in and out, but this is also a reminder the show is always here for you, as it has been since 2013. But I need to talk, just you and me. We got to talk for a minute if you're listening to me and hearing me right now. And you might have heard me talking about this before, but I do want to spell this out, that Sleep With Me, all of the funding to make Sleep With Me, everything that pays all of our bills and the costs of producing the show, 99% of that comes from listeners. We don't get any funding from outside sources or other entertainment companies or companies, companies like music streaming companies or video streaming companies. We don't have any investors, and there's no other secret pipeline of support for Sleep With Me or almost every other podcast either. We get some money from sponsors that are direct response, meaning they base their sponsorship on the listeners that support them. A tiny bit from automated ads. But the majority of what keeps the show going comes from the people who get the most out of the podcast. Super listeners, ideally. And I don't know if you're a super listener. I don't know if you already made the decision you're not in a position to support the show. That's okay. Or you made the decision you're not going to support the show. That's okay, too. You could still take a part in this coming right up here. But if you didn't make one of those two decisions, we need support. Support from the people who benefit the most from the podcast. People that fall asleep fast. People that listen all night long. If we don't get more all-night listeners and people who fall asleep fast, the podcast won't be around. But we also need support from people that listen 3-4 nights a week. People who have listened for a year or longer. And I'm just wondering if you're in one of those groups. The podcast has changed your life for the better, and it continues to change your life for better. And I'm trying to lay out the stakes without using kind of fear or stress, because while that is effective, right? The last round this month, I tried to use a more positive message, and we actually lost subscribers. But it's so tiring for me. It's almost like I'd rather lose the podcast than kind of keep having to do this sales pitch and say, well, if the podcast is going to go away, if that's the only way to get people to support the show, I don't know, it's really, really not fun for me. So instead of, the stakes are there. If you haven't decided and the podcast has changed your life for the better, the stakes are, we need some of you, maybe it's you, to support the show, or it won't be around. But instead of focusing on that, I want to talk about rooting, about sending positive energy, rooting in the deep dark night. I've been talking about this in the intro for years. And that's what I believe in. I believe in rooting for other people to get a good night's sleep. And maybe you're here, maybe you stuck around because someone out there, somebody who was struggling in the deep dark night just like you, was rooting for you. And you could feel that welcome when you got here. Or maybe you're one of those people who roots for other people who are struggling in the deep dark night. And here's what a couple people who did sign up in the last round of messaging said. Tiffany Y said, just because you can get something for free doesn't mean you should. I know if I have trouble for sleeping, I just have to listen. I'll be out in no time. That is definitely worth a few dollars a month. And Michelle F. said, this show is like cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia and a sleep aid all in one. I also consider it an art form, and I believe in compensating artists for their work. Timothy T. said, I'm a full-time caregiver, and the person I care for discovered your podcast, and we really like the ad-free content. It makes it easier to listen to. And then John R., who said, I'm a super listener, said, I had no idea how urgent it was. I'd been meaning to support the show, but I just never took the time. I realize now I've been unintentionally voting now. So I subscribed and with feeling. So what I'm asking is, are you the one person everybody else is rooting for? Like, just to overcome whatever it is, putting it off or saying it doesn't matter, it matters, or somebody else is going to do it, or are you the person we're rooting for to support the show? Now, it's okay if you're not. Maybe you're rooting for yourself to get a good night's sleep as soon as this episode, maybe you're an all-night listener. Maybe you woke up and you're looking forward to falling asleep soon. If you are a super listener, we did build Sleep With Me Plus with you in mind. Ad-free episodes, ad-free story-only episodes, tons of different cool stuff. So I don't know if you're rooting for yourself. Think about supporting the show on Sleep With Me Plus just so you get a better listening experience. But maybe you're rooting for somebody else out there. Maybe it's somebody this month, which we're rooting for, is people going back to school or who are impacted by the back-to-school season. It could be teachers, it could be parents, it could be students, it could be anybody dealing with increased traffic. Whatever it is, this beginning of this transitional season affects a lot of people. And we're rooting for all those people, whether they listen to the show or not. Or whether they're a super listener or a cat. They say, well, I just needed to get through the first couple weeks of school. We're rooting for all of them to get a good night's sleep. So you could root for those people. You could root for someone whose sleep struggles are just like yours, or you could receive the rooting, because I hope you can feel it right now. I'm rooting for you, but a bunch of other people are rooting for you right now across the world. But if you're the one we're rooting for that's like, yeah, I've been putting it off. Yes, Sleep With Me continues to change my life for the better. We're rooting for you to support the show. So they'll be around, not just for you, for every other person we're rooting for. You could do that at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus, because we need support, right? And you might be thinking someone else will do it. But what if, as has been said in the last couple months, time after time, what if that someone else is you, right? You're the someone else. Well, if you're that person, we're cheering you on here. Don't let that resistance, and I know what the resistance feels like. I put it off. I say it doesn't matter. I say I'll do it tomorrow. Then I criticize myself. But just do it and see how it feels. And again, you could always cancel during the free trial or cancel after a month or two. But I'm so proud of the show. And this is how I want to try to get support for the show. If it doesn't work, I don't know what I'll do. But I'm going to keep trying this more positive but honest message where everybody can participate. And everybody can participate in giving and receiving. But it is like kind of like a needle in a haystack that we're looking for now, but we got to find it. So I don't know if you're the needle in the haystack or you're somebody snoozing in the haystack, or maybe you're a horse having a hay snack. I don't know. But thanks so much for listening, and good night.